When we finally got to my dad's room, I noticed the strange smells. It reeked of hospital cleanliness. We all hugged and had a warm moment in a cold and institutional place. After our greetings, we made small talk for a good 30 minutes until I got restless. I was anxious to get on with our night and go back home to play with my friends. As we were leaving my dad's hospital room, I was sticking near my mom and holding her hand. When we approached the sleek and shiny parking garage elevators, I eagerly ran into the elevator and pressed a button. My appreciation of elevators would briefly be shattered, along with my sense of security in this frightening world of mine. As the doors were shutting and I saw my mother make a frantic attempt to dart for the door, I knew then that I was in trouble. My mother didn't even have a chance to board. I had been on 1,000 elevator rides before and knew that the doors shut slowly, but this time they seemed to shut immediately, like the elevator itself was trying to swallow my life whole. When the doors finally closed, my heart sank and I let out a blood-curdling scream that could be heard by my mother on the other side of the doors. Ah! I was in the elevator that now felt like a prison cell. All by myself, not knowing where I was going or even if the button I hit was the floor our van was parked on. I began to think the worst. When the elevator doors finally opened, I peeked outside, looking into the dark, ominously lit parking garage, unsure if I should step out. When the doors automatically began to shut, I jumped out of the elevator, fearing another terrifying ride from hell. Overwhelmed with distress, I furiously looked up and down the dark aisles of the eerie parking garage for my mother with no luck. As I was intensely scanning for Mom, I saw a tall, bald man wearing a white lab coat come out of nowhere and start to walk directly toward me. I was horror-struck with an overwhelming amount of fear. Everything I had been told, all the horror stories of little children getting abducted, was actually about to happen to me. I let out a screech of terror that was 10 times as powerful as the yelp I expressed when I was initially separated from my mother. The man's direct walk immediately turned into a quick dash straight for me. I looked for somewhere to go. It all looked scary and there really was no place to go, so I broke down and curled into a fetal ball, hoping that he would just run past. When the strange man finally got to me, halfway out of breath, he asked, "Are you okay? Where are your parents?" He offered me a hand and I reluctantly obliged, knowing that I had no other option than to trust this complete stranger. As we began back to the elevator that had caused me so much distress, the elevator bell rang and the doors opened. From a short distance, I could see my mom looking around, probably as terrified as I was. She called out for me, "Ben!" Both the man and I called back to her, "Over here." I ran as fast as I could back to my mother's arms. It was still apparent that we were both more than shaken. The man and my mom spoke for a short time, and she thanked him dearly. She found out that he was an intern working at the hospital to become a doctor. My mother told me how lucky I was that a nice doctor found me instead of some drug-crazed serial killer. Even though my mom made sure she kept the fear of the unknown in me, I was still able to appreciate this man's decency. His actions have in one way or another formed the way that I personally handle other situations when I am the person that needs to act. My fear of strangers was mostly put to rest after this. I used to think that strangers would bring my worst fears to reality. This stranger went out of his way to help me. From this experience, I have found that most people are not bad or evil. There is common decency in most people, and when the situation arises, they will act in kindness.
Wonderful.
It was pretty good. He's a good storyteller, I think.
Boy, I'll tell you, that was wonderful, and I know the feeling because I've been in one.
Yeah.
Well, that's when she told us that you'd been in an elevator like 4 times stuck and that you didn't like to. And I said, "Ben, do you have that story with you?" Because he did that for, what class was it?
English comp. Right?
Yeah. And so he told that. And I'm like,